What's going on, everybody? It's Ginger on Wheels here again. Thanks for stopping by the channel where we get to test and unbox the latest electrically wheeled gadgets. The scooter rack there is the VSETT 10 Plus. It's basically the VSETT 9 Plus on crack for adults. It's got dual 1400 watt motors as opposed to the VSETT's dual 650 watt motors. It has a 60 volt 20 amp hour battery. It's got nice tall handlebars. It's very fit for me, and the best part about it is it goes 50 miles an hour. So let's hop on this thing and I'll tell you exactly why I think this is the best scooter I've ever ridden. So we are perched here atop the VSETT 10 Plus, and you did hear me correctly in the intro. This is my new favorite scooter. The Wolf Warrior and the Wolf King have their place. If I'm feeling like really aggressive and I've had 3 cups of coffee that day and I'm trying to get a workout, I'll hop on the Wolf or the Wolf King. But this scooter is super comfortable. It's got very tall handlebars. It fits me a little better than the 9 Plus. It's got nice tall tires. The deck to ground height is a little bit taller. My favorite part about it though is the way they've mapped the throttle on these VSETT scooters. Like on the Wolf, if I floor it, it goes and you can't even control it. But this thing, see how smooth that is? The motors are dead silent, just like the 9 Plus. The way that the throttle builds like that, it helps you save a ton of battery. You can tone down the Wolf a little bit in the mini motor settings, but it's not gonna get anywhere near as smooth as this. And this thing you can make more aggressive. This is in the smoothest setting right now. I've noticed, I'm 200 pounds, 6 foot tall. I know how to ride a scooter. I've got good stance, I feel like. I've never had speed wobbles except on that Dualtron Storm. But the way that the suspension is so pillowy, when you hit bumps and stuff going around corners or really fast, the front wheel can actually chatter, like it'll chirp off the ground as you're riding. And that's really scary. So if you're above like 40, 45 miles an hour, you gotta prepare for that wheel to just start like really fast. But they make a shock. It's called the EXA Form Shock. It's like 80 bucks and you can install it on the front, and it has a rebound adjustment too on it. It's like a hydraulic mountain biking shock, but it's just way better than that stock front shock. You can upgrade the rear shock too if you want with the EXA Form. I think it's 185 millimeter, but I don't think it's necessary. I've only had issues with the front wheel chattering like that. Maybe if you're gonna do the front, you might as well do the back too. I don't know, but it'll be twice as expensive. But unless you're going 40, 45 miles an hour, that's a non-issue. And it makes the ride way more comfortable to have these type of shocks. Like boing, boing, boing. It's just way fun. One of the great parts about the scooter is you get all the elements of the big boy scooters like the Dualtron and the Wolf, except it folds down into a nice tiny package. These bars, the first gen VSETTs had an issue with these bars. You tighten them all the way and it would still have a little bit of up and down play in them. But RevRides has adjusted these bars so that there's no play in the ones that they sell, which I really like. Super solid bars, but they also fold down the sides of the stem, you know? And the stem folds down. It's got a nice secure, this is a new latching mechanism. We saw it on the 9 Plus, but I'll show you again. You just unscrew this little thing right here, and it comes out of a threaded hole in the frame. There's a safety pin on the other side. You pull out of its little hole, and then you can push the latch forward. Boop. And then we'll remove the hook, and the stem comes right down. Takes about maybe 15 seconds to do. And it is the most secure latching mechanism on any scooter that I've seen so far. It's not the best scooter for riding around at night. If you hold the plus button on the throttle here, there's a little tiny headlight that comes on in the front, and then there's 2 aux lights on the side. And honestly, the Wolf Warrior is the only scooter I've ever ridden that had a worthy headlight where you don't actually need to adjust it or make any add-ons. But I feel like not having a great headlight is par for the course, so I'm not gonna ding it that much for that. It does still have a little bit of area on the bars for you to mount like your phone mount or your flashlight right here and right here. I have seen a lot of people though. This is like a standard mountain bike mount, I guess, right here. So you can just replace these straight across with mountain bike wider handlebars. They're not gonna fold probably, but you'll have a lot more space to mount stuff if that bugs you. It makes for a nice pillowy ride at low speeds, but it gets a little chattery at high speeds like I was talking about. I'll show you. How about that? I'll just show you. See if we can get this thing up to 40 plus. And listen to and watch the front wheel. I'll point the camera down. All right. There it is, there it is. You see it? Oh, maybe I can slow that down and show you. It happened on braking that time.
There it is. You see it?
If you upgrade the suspension to this thing with the EXA form shocks, this is one of the few scooters that you can actually jump and not do any damage to it. The frame is super strong, and those suspensions are meant for mountain biking. Something about the Wolf Warrior and the Wolf King, you saw I got like 50 miles range off the Wolf King versus the Dualtron Storm, which have really similar size batteries, but the Dualtron Storm got like 50% more range. So that's a huge gripe I've developed over like the last 6 months about the Wolves. They're just really inefficient. The motors are loud, they're chonky. They use like 100 watt hours per mile as opposed to the VSETTs. We're looking at like 30 to 50 watt hours per mile. I feel like when I first started scooting, just like everyone else, I started out with the small scoots and I was sort of amazed by the bigger scoots, but I figured I'd never get to ride one. And you always hear about Dualtron being the best of the best and everything. And I feel like I went all the way up through the ranks to the biggest scooters, and now I'm on my way back down trying to find the sweet spot, and I found it, the 10 Plus. You don't need something totally insane like the Dualtron Storm or the Wolf King. I mean, maybe you do if you're like an ultra long range commuter slash hardcore rider, but for 99% of people, if you're looking for a super fast, big, burly scooter, the 10 Plus is gonna be plenty. And if you get the 10 Plus R, you got a 28 amp hour battery, which will go farther than the Wolf King or the Dualtron Storm probably. I'll have to range test this thing, and then we can calculate exactly how many watt hours per mile it uses. But I know, based on how quiet and efficient the motors are, and how smooth the acceleration response is, that I'm gonna get a ton of range out of this thing. There was a problem with the earlier generation of VSETTs. The tires were popping, I guess, a lot. Nice. The tires were popping on the earlier gen VSETTs. I think it had to do with like thin tubes and narrow sidewalls, but RevRides has got CST tires on their VSETTs now, at least most of them, I think. The CST tires on this thing and on the 9 Plus that I have are just like, I've had no issues. 40 PSI and 200 pounds. You just saw me go downstairs with it. I can never really tell how fast I'm going. It's sort of like when you ride in a really nice car and you're going 80 and you don't even realize it yet. I feel like I'm going 40 without even thinking about it on this scooter. On this little gravelly section here, I'm clipping 35 miles an hour. Make that 40. We can make our own new path. Woohoo! Squeaky tires. Sorry, RevRides. I'm having too much fun. You can't loan me these toys. What do you expect? It's just so great. So perfect. I don't know if you remember from the Dualtron Thunder unboxing, I brought my buddy Scott out because he's pretty experienced with scooters. We used to ride gas-powered scooters called Go-Peds back in the days, little two-stroke engines on the back. And he came on the last Saturday night ride and I let him ride this thing. He was actually rode it on its maiden voyage. And he loves it. He was very skeptical about buying a scooter when I let him ride my Emu Cruiser and the S2 Pro and all the Wolves and Dualtrons. He was kind of like, eh. But once I let him ride this on the Saturday night ride, he stopped and legitimately was like, okay, how much does that thing cost? Like, it sells itself. If you know someone with one of these and you're watching this video because you're thinking like maybe I should buy one too, just beg your buddy, ask them if they'll let you ride it. Once you ride it, you'll buy one, promise. I feel like I can go anywhere and do anything with the scooter, like stuff I would never be able to do with cars, like all that trail riding, going through the parks. Now I'm going through parking lots. I could probably go over this median thing if I wanted to. You can just go anywhere. The possibilities are limitless. Boing. I don't even know where I am anymore, and it doesn't even matter. Got 80 miles of range, or at least 50 with me on it. Can't do this in a car, can't do this in a motorcycle. Why don't you just buy a motorcycle? Ha! This is why. I love this scooter. I'm gonna ask RevRides very, very nicely if I can buy this off them. I'm keeping it. This makes me excited for the future of scooters. It seems like manufacturers now actually know the right direction in which to go. They listen to our feedbacks. There are things we can add, you know, like headlights built into the stem somehow, maybe like a Bluetooth speaker console up here, or like just all sorts of cool things I could think to add. Magnetic phone mount maybe right on the top. But those things will come in time. For now, this scooter has everything that I need. Can you do this on a motorcycle? On the bike trail? And then just not on the bike trail anymore? Doing whatever you want? Oh, so smooth. I just love this thing. Okay, if I had to nitpick the things that I would change about the scooter, definitely maybe add a bigger headlight. If you're a night rider, that's a pretty important deal. I forgot to mention, as integrated turn signals. See these little buttons in the grip here? The little like protrusions. One here, one on the right over here. You push them and you got a timed blinker that actually turns on. See, I'll push this and then stop. And you can see we've got a right blinker. And I think it stays on for 30 seconds or a minute, but it's timed. So might be kind of weird if you make the corner quickly, you have to go straight for almost a minute with the blinker on. Maybe that's one thing I would change. Push the blinker for on and push it for off. I don't know. Small little things, you guys. The rideability of this thing, the scooter is so comfortable. I feel like I could ride it at 40 miles an hour all day and have no fatigue. I'd have just as much fatigue as I would if I were just standing in place all day. One of the things I like most about it, the 011X was a super fast scooter, right? Dual 1600 watt motors, 72 volts. But it pushed so hard you could actually melt the phase connectors and like blow the fuses inside the deck. This thing is electronically limited and it has a sport button you can turn on. If you're really feeling crazy, see how the display here goes into S instead of 3? It adds a little bit of torque and a lot of top speed. And it's timed also, like the blinkers. I think you get like a minute of boost. And they've timed it and they've dialed it in such a way that you can actually go the full boost, sustained, and you won't melt anything. And when it starts to get so hot that it might melt, it turns itself off. This is just crazy fast. I don't know how fast that was. My eyes were watering so much. I got my Bell Super Air R helmet on with no visor. My recommendation is if you have a scooter that goes faster than 40, buy a full-blown motorcycle helmet with a full-blown visor on the front. If you don't need it for the wind, you'll thank me later when you're not eating bugs. Look at this little dog in the back. Hey, buddy. It's just so refreshing to finally have a scooter that fits and works and doesn't jerk you around, and it's comfortable and goes fast, has a lot of range, it's quiet. Ooh, okay, one other thing I would change about it, definitely. This is not a small complaint. This is a rather, you know, substantial one. Listen to the horn. It sounds like a whistle. When you're sneaking up behind someone, this scooter's so dang quiet. This does work as a bell. I've had a few people turn and be like, what on earth is that? But most people think it's like a truck backing up off in the distance. Listen to it. You would think that's a truck backing up, right? No, that's your horn on your VSETT. So that's one thing I would change. But aside from that and the headlights and the front shock, perfect, nailed it. I would still buy the scooter 10 times out of 10 every day. Gotta start going back home. Getting late, I'm getting hungry. We're running out of batteries too. Only got that 20 amp hour in here. Need the 28. But we still got 36 miles on this charge of ripping it. And I've got 2 bars of battery left. I came out to do a review for this scooter today. And I did some 1080 filming, some 4K filming, some slow-mo filming around the velodrome. And then I love this scooter so much I didn't go home. I strapped the GoPro to my chest to film this video because I just wanted to keep riding it. All right, you guys, well, that's it. That was my first official impressions ride on the VSETT 10 Plus. I'm in love with the scooter. I really couldn't ask for more scooter. It's really comfortable. It's got nice grips, super smooth throttle, full hydraulic brakes, latching mechanism that's really secure, nice big tires, comfortable suspension. It's got the sport mode, turn signals. Like, what more do you want in a scooter? This thing is totally perfect. 1400 watt motor, 50 mile an hour. It just, be still my beating heart. The best part about it is RevRides does have these in stock right now. They'll give you 50 bucks off with the code GINGER50, and it's like the perfect time to buy one because the winter months are coming. We're gonna start getting the rain, and this thing has a IP water resistance rating as well. I would definitely buy from RevRides every time. They have amazing customer support. They've been nothing but perfect to me, and they price match too, so there's no reason not to buy from them. But the Wolf King, Dualtron Storm, all that, totally dethroned. This is my new favorite scooter. I said it. Ginger on wheels, over and out.